like once a week. Or I think touch is really important at this time too.
Yes, I hadn't even thought about that, and I can't tell you how beneficial that would be for me to have a massage. It's been maybe 10 years, and I'm at that point where it would just be, I would probably melt, and they'd have to scoop me up with a frying pan or something. I'd be all goo on the floor by the time they were done.
Yeah, well, I do find it really helping and really grounding and stuff, and it is something I try to do once a month. So.
Well, now there were some of these techniques. You mentioned angelic mastery was one of the spiritual modalities that you work with. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, most of the work I do in terms of healing modalities is my passion in life really is I really want to help people to be masters. The spiritual, I'm not really big on spiritual growth for the sake of growth. I want people to help people to learn spiritual principles and techniques to make their life better. And a lot of my healing modalities, the focus has been on healing negative emotions, negative beliefs, negative past experiences, and I've brought in a lot of different sessions, like Practical Mastery has hundreds of sessions, and Angelic Mastery has hundreds of sessions, and I post a lot of those on videos, and my latest format in healing, I sent you some of my books, but I begin to encode a lot of, another resource for people is I have a YouTube website on Bill Austin Art on YouTube that has a lot of activations and healing sessions, so it's a really great resource. But on one of my websites, www.healingreikimaster.com/free.html, I have a whole list of free healing sessions and activations and stuff for people as well.
While you're mentioning that, could you mention all the websites that you have that people can find your work at? And I know it might take a while. You have about 4 or 5 websites, don't you?
Yeah, I tend to be prolific. In everything I do, I'm prolific. My main website, the one I began years ago, is Healing Holograms, www.healingholograms.com. And my newest one is energyhealingbooks.com, and that's where I'm putting all the books I'm creating. I have 4 of them out, and then a children's book that I did with Maria Bowling, and within the next week I'm going to be adding 2 more, a feng shui book I did with Monica Castaneda, who's my graphics person. We're doing a series of feng shui healing books, and Maria Bowling and I, who's another very gifted healer and artist, did a great children's book called The ABCs of Color. Very pretty book.
Wow. Now, you mentioned that a lot of your clients are starseed and light workers, and that some have come here to help during the shift. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? I mean,
from your book, I know you know this. A lot of people from highly evolved worlds have begun incarnating on Earth to help Earth to make that shift and humanity to make that shift. And, the starseeds and the indigo children, and then the crystalline Christ children, and then the rainbow children. It just goes on and on. There are many, many millions of great masters who have incarnated on this world. Probably there are more masters incarnated on this world than there ever have been. And it's all to help Earth to shift to the higher dimensions and to help humanity to shift to those higher dimensions. A lot of people are here on the planet not to do anything but to raise children, or to just hold the space that they may not even know that they have all these gifts. And of course a lot of it is, a lot of healers I see are heart paradigm healers, and Earth hasn't been in the heart paradigm, so they had all these healing gifts and frustrated, well, I want to heal, but I don't really feel drawn to do anything, and it's because we were in the mental paradigm, and it wasn't time for their gifts to come forth. It's beginning to be the time for people's gifts to come forth, so it's going to be a very exciting time on the planet.
Well, I sure hope so, because it seems like, there have been people that have been awake or a little, in the awakening process. One of the people in my group is 70-something, and he said that he awakened about 50 years ago, and there was nobody to talk to during the time because nobody else was awake. And he said now there's all kinds of groups, and he has his own group and so on and so forth. But you know, I seems like many of us are getting a little bit we shop weary or we're shop worn because it seems like we've been in the process of waiting for these magnificent shifts and changes and helping bring them about, and that they're taking forever. If you know what I mean.
Well, I think a lot of people have been very frustrated by that Earth hasn't shifted more quickly. I think humanity could have shifted more quickly than it's chosen to do. But, you know, we all know what this planet is like, and we always know that humanity always chooses the hardest path. So why did we think that humanity would do it differently this time?
Yeah, good point. I love it.
That would defy every expectation we had on the spiritual plane. And, you know, and we all think that, like, on the spiritual plane, we all are such idiots in a way. We think, oh, yeah, we can do it. We can do it. And then we forget how dense this world is and how challenging and dysfunctional this world is. And a lot of people have fallen through the wayside. So it's one of those things where, you know, a lot of work has to be done, and there are fewer hands to do it than anticipated because a lot of people weren't able to get where they need to get to do what they needed to do.
Good point.
So people get weary because we're doing like twice what we really sort of wanted to do. You know, and then like we choose how much spiritual energy we come in with, and a lot of people didn't choose enough spiritual energy because, you know, one of the ideas of mastery is you do the most you can with the least amount of energy. And a lot of us underestimate how much spiritual energy we would need to bring in to do what we need to do. And there have been cataclysmic things like AIDS and stuff that I don't think we ever really quite anticipated would happen. There have been some very interesting developments that I don't think anyone really anticipated when we incarnated.
Well, I can sure tell you that was true for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think, like you said, we choose the amount of energy, the soul energy that we bring in with us, and I think I must have underestimated by a few percentage points. But at least I'm still here, and I'm still working on myself, and you know, trying to do.
Well, I think that we all, you know, Earth wasn't really expected. Humanity wasn't really expected to do the shifts that we did. Like 3 years ago, I got sideswiped by a car, and like it killed my my left hand side mirror, and I was like so incredibly annoyed at the $500 it took to fix the stupid mirror, and I was complaining and bitching about it, and they said, well, you know, if Earth hadn't chosen to ascend, that would have been how you would have died. You know, a lot of us incarnated here, not really thinking humanity would really choose to ascend. You know, I would probably be a multimillionaire lawyer touring the world and eating bonbons, you know, right now, you know, living on a stock market portfolio.
Right,
my life got totally rearranged by the decision to ascend because it placed me on a spiritual path where before I would probably died 3 or 4 years ago in a car accident and been a very, very wealthy person and had a really wonderful last 5 years touring the world instead of like in the trenches doing healing and spiritual work. So, you know, so none of us really quite expected. At least the Indigos and Crystalline Christ children knew a little bit more about what was going to happen with this world when they incarnated.
True, and they do try to tell other people, and then of course a lot of them get quieted because they are. This has changed a lot, but many of them have been quieted by antidepressants and various drugs for bipolar and so on and so forth. But
yeah,
I think
because they're not really understood, and their gifts aren't understood, and you know, so often a lot of my clients, you know, a lot of people incarnate here just to be parents of kids. A lot of women incarnate on this planet. You know, and like I have quite a few of them who are clients, and you know they come to say, "Well, what's my path? What's my path?" And you know, a lot of times it's to be the caretaker of your children, and of course, a lot of them want to do more stuff, you know. But you know, that's such an important thing is to raise children so they're raised as pure to their vibration as they can be, because they're the ones who will really change this world.
Mm-hmm. Well, Well, Bill, you know, this has been such a great conversation. This hour has flown by faster than a heartbeat. Before we go, would you mention again where people can find your books and your artwork and sign up for your free? Well, I get
Sure. If
you
you go to www.healingreakimaster.com, there's a link there for free stuff. Or you could go to the energyhealingbooks.com site as well.
Wonderful. Well, Bill, I want to thank you for being on the show. I had a wonderful time with you, and I learned a lot, as I always do with all my guests, and I hope that the listeners, who are all my friends, enjoyed you as much as I did.
Well, I was terrified, and I couldn't speak very much, but I tried.
Oh, you did fabulous. You were great.
You be good, man. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And enjoy your weekend, and thank you, everybody, for being here and for sharing this time with both of us. Good night, Bill, and good night to all the listeners.
Like once a week, or I think touch is really important at this time, too.
Yes, I hadn't even thought about that, and I can't tell you how beneficial that would be for me to have a massage. It's been maybe 10 years, and you know, I'm at that point where it would just be, I would probably melt, and they'd have to scoop me up with a
healing modalities. The focus has been on healing negative emotions, negative beliefs, negative past experiences, and I've brought in a lot of different sessions, like Practical Mastery has hundreds of sessions, and Angelic Mastery has hundreds of sessions, and I post a lot of those on videos, and my latest format in healing, I sent you some of my books, but I begin to encode a lot of, another resource for people is I have a YouTube website on Bill Austin Art on YouTube that has a lot of activations and healing sessions, so it's a really great resource. But on one of my websites, www.healingreikimaster.com/3.html, I have a whole list of like free healing sessions and activations and stuff for people.
Angelic Mastery was one of the spiritual modalities that you work with. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, most of the work I do in terms of healing modalities is my passion in life really is I really want to help people to be masters. The spiritual, I'm not really big on spiritual growth for the sake of growth. I want people to help people to learn spiritual principles and techniques to make their life better. And a lot of my
frying pan or something, I'd be all goo on the floor by the time they were done.
Yeah, well, I do find it really helping and really grounding and stuff, and it is something I try to do once a month, so.
Well, now, there were some of these techniques you mentioned, and